Isn't it horrible when you have this feeling in the pit of your stomach and your wife is just acting different and you're asking yourself, is she cheating? What is going on with her? She's changing. Something's happening. Maybe you can't sleep. There's so much emotions that happen because when you're married to someone, or even if you're with someone for a long time, you can really understand their emotions, their personality. So you pick up when something changes. So I think it's really important today to discuss when your wife is acting different, really like how to repair your marriage or what is happening. So I have another expert with me and also my husband. So what better than that? Alexandre Cormont. Hi, baby.
Hey, my love. Hi, everyone.
We're going to be talking about just really why your wife would be acting different, and actually like give you some tools of how to try to repair this firsthand. My husband has over 18 years of coaching and fixing breakups, fixing marriages. So he is the best of the best besides me in attraction. So he's going to be giving you some answers in regards to this. And I want to kind of give you a woman's really perspective of this too. So it's going to be perfect. So stay tuned. Now, I would love to start off of why do you think a woman would start acting distant in a marriage all of a sudden?
That's a
It's
very
a
good
man's
question.
opinion.
Yeah, of course, as a male opinion. But I have coached so many people, so many men that came to me and say, "Hey, Alex, my wife is very, very distant. And of course, I want to save my marriage. I want to get her back. I want to make her love me again." And every time they have no clue. They have no clue why is she acting distant.
That's the worst part.
And I feel this is the most important part because we need to understand what's going on in order to get some results.
And that says a lot there.
Exactly. So my next question is very simple. What was her words? What did she tell you for the last few weeks? What was she blaming you for? So we need to understand the real root of the issue because the distance is the consequence. The distance is the results of something happening in the relationship, which is most of the time, and I want to see your woman opinion on this side, the lack of emotional connection. If there is the routine, if the husband is not, really present, if he's just too far from her, like going out with his friends, not planning any dates, etc. That's the moment where they would vocalize their sadness, they would vocalize what they want, but if you don't hear, they start acting distant. This is what I see, but I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I think most of the times it is have to do with lack of emotional connection and being present in the relationship, responding to your wife's needs and your wife responding to your needs. I think a lot of times before you get to a wife or even a husband being distant, there's always going to be some type of communication or some type of, what are the things called? Nitpicking, some type of warning signals, especially with women. Like we will warn you for months or weeks until we make a decision in our head, right? And I think it's really important is in marriages, like you grow and paying attention to each other's needs changes. And so communication has to be really important in your marriage. But I also think a lot of reasons, what I've seen with clients just in the past is like resentment in marriages. Like resentment just is festering in the marriage. And if it festers, it just grows and grows and grows from like previous incidents. Maybe someone cheated in the past, or maybe someone made a mistake with a family member in the past, or they got in a fight with a cousin or she wasn't there. One of my clients wasn't there for his wife when her mom passed away, and she's had resentment for years because of that, and it's destroying their marriage. And I'm helping them through that, right? With just him with attracting her back. And they're going to marriage counseling and things like this. So I think resentment, emotional and connection, and I think investment in yourself and admiration. I think the biggest thing that keeps me attracted to you, like in regards to, like, as if, I'm not kidding, we've been together for almost over 8 years, and you smile because I had a count.
That's the first time she knows. She remember. Wow, what impressed I am.
Thanks, babe. And and I say this, it sounds like a movie line, but it's true. It's like I'm in love with you just as much as I was in love with you the first year, but my love has grown for you, And the reason, one of the biggest reasons, is because I can admire you every day, like you work hard. It doesn't mean like, oh, because you're the provider, you make a lot of money and da-da-da. Like that's all out the window. It's really to say like you are just a leader, in life. And like when I need someone, I need a backbone. I need someone to make me feel safe. I need someone to make me feel secure. I need someone to bring logic back in my life. You're there, right? And so that's admirable. And not only that, it's not about your career, but it's about your purpose, your passion. You focus on your health. You focus on being the best father that you can be. You focus on your clothing because you know it's important. Like, I need to look good for my wife. I need to maintain my body for my wife, and vice versa, right? You're patient with me, but yet you're hard on me in the best time. So I think it's really important, right, to have that. And so a woman will never leave a man and there's no woman that can argue with this, gentlemen. A woman will never leave a man if she can always admire you, plain and simple. And admiration comes in so many different ways. Like, for example, if you were to lose a job, let's say you worked at, I don't know, a Florida power company, whatever, and you lost your job, right? But you still have a purpose. Still have a passion. You're still going to the gym. You're still positive at home. You're like, I'm going to do something. I've got, but babe, you need to do this because we need to actually make this much money. So I need you to do this while I do this. And you're coming in with a strategic plan. That is still admirable. A lot of men think that they have to upkeep the Ferrari or not lose their job and not have a hard time. But it's really about the emotional connection, the communication, and being admirable. So I think when a woman loses interest, sorry, because I'm going on a ramble with this, it's literally because of the fact that she stopped admiring her husband.
I love what you mentioned. It's very interesting. And I want to ask you a question, guys. Maybe you can leave a comment below to tell us if you're doing this, if you feel that you're truly yourself, truly, loving your life, truly having this purpose that can make a woman acting much more warmer after being distant. Because that's the moment we can really understand what's going wrong in your situation and what you should do as a better job. But I have seen also some other situation that I wanted your female perspective on this one. I see a lot of men that I coach, they tell me, but Alex, I'm doing this. I'm going to the gym. I'm taking care of myself. I take care of the kids. I do my best. But my wife is acting distant. And when I ask question, it's because the wife is kind of avoiding the responsibilities and she wants to enjoy life. There is this midlife crisis.
I've seen this before.
What would be your advice regarding this situation for men that are doing everything, but their wife seems to come back as a teenager?
Okay, so first of all, I don't mean to throw our marriage into this, but I have to because I feel like I always say like if you are a business coach and they have a great business, be coached by that person because you want a business like them, right? Be coached by a person that you want a relationship like, right? And I'll say this till I'm blue in the face and I'm not lying. We have one of the healthiest marriages. Do we butt heads sometimes? Yeah. Do we communicate sometimes and get on each other's nerves? Absolutely. Yes. But I think one of the things, and that's why I say this first to preface, but if I was doing this to you, I know for sure you would walk out of this house and literally be like, F you, get your shit together because this is not the wife that I married. I'm going to take care of the kids. This is not acceptable because one, I value respect. And this is why, and you'll give me examples, you're not respecting me, my home, our kids. And two, you're not talking to me about X, Y, Z. And I don't know what you're going through, but you need to figure that out because that is you. And when you figure that out, then you can bring it to me. It's called boundaries. And sometimes you have to have those boundaries all the time in marriages. And I think if that happens, it's because the man lacked boundaries and also too avoided a couple things. So for example, like if I was going out on weekends drinking with my girlfriends every weekend and we have kids, you would literally say something probably the second time. You would literally warn me, be like, I don't think it's pretty healthy what you're doing, Apollonia. You wouldn't tell me what to do, but you're going to put little things in my head. You see what I mean? So it's about always being attentive to your partner. Like even if Alex was doing something off, I call it out all the time and I check in with him. And so sometimes we ignore those things in marriages and that's why it prolongs like that where the wife gets there. And I also secondly think that if a man gets there with his wife, one, he might have lacked boundaries in speaking up, and two, he needs to lay down the law. Not tell the woman what to do, but he needs to put himself first and his children first. Because you love me you will love me till infinity and I trust you with all my life. But I know if I was to disrespect you, and that's what keeps me being a good wife, is if I was to disrespect you, and the same thing for me, you would not have a problem leaving that door. Plain and simple, because you put you first and I put me first. And it sounds harsh, but it's the reality. But also I feel safe because of that.
I love your response, and I want to really reborn on what you mentioned about being independent, because I see a lot of men, they are scared. But Alex, if I set boundaries or if I tell my wife what I need, what I want, she doesn't care actually. She's like closed off. She's outside of the house in her mind. It's also because most of the time men are not enough independent. They are trying so hard to save the marriage that they are losing themselves.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you have seen
For
this
sure,
in
yeah.
coaching as well. So I want you guys to know that, of course, when you see your wife acting distant, you have the fear of losing her, the fear of losing your marriage, the fear of losing the kids sometimes, etc. But the reality is that you have to go beyond the fears to win your independence and to get more charisma so she can admire you as well.
Yeah.
Because most of the men that I coach, they are on the cycle and they don't see the big picture, I would say. They don't see the results that they can have by focusing on themselves. So if I listen to you correctly, it will be also your piece of advice. Instead of giving her everything because she would always be unsatisfied, you need to focus on you guys. You need to really improve yourself. That will be your piece of advice as well.
For sure. And I think also too, something we have to mention is if your wife is acting distant, or just a woman in general you've been in a long-term relationship with, is when you get to a point in your relationships or your marriage, I should say, is when you get to a point in your marriage or your relationship, what is really important to understand is that sometimes one of you always has to be the bigger person, plain and simple. And that bigger person is always going to change the role. So if something is happening in your relationship or in your marriage, and let's say, for example, your wife is out till who knows and texting people and she's just a changed woman, right? At the end of the day, you have to be the better person, because I also see that men are like, okay, then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. And so that relationship, that marriage is going to demolish. And I think it's really important to understand that there is always someone that has to be the better person, and you can never resent or regret being the better person. You have to wear it with pride, because that's what's going to give you the charisma. That's what's going to give you the confidence. That's what's going to give you the leadership. That's what's going to make you admirable in her eyes. And also for you to step in the mindset of saying, what was the route that got us here? So then you're there, and you're just either waiting for her to get there and you're leading by example, or you see that she never will, and then that's what's going to help you make your decision.
Yeah, and I think it's the hardest part of the coaching job, and for you guys, because honestly, when you see your wife acting distant, you have to get the perfect answer.
Yeah.
Most of the time we would be needy, available, depressed, sad, and she would be in control, and we won't get any benefit of the marriage. And some other situation to try to make her jealous, to go out, to be eye against eye, that also is not working. So you have to find the right balance and the perfect advice for your specific situation.
Yeah.
That's why I love doing coaching. I know it's the same for you. We love doing coaching because it's when we can tailor the game plan to your situation. But I would say that if the topic was, okay, in 1 minute, my wife is acting distant, what should I do? You need to become independent. You need to focus on you. You need to raise your value and your self-confidence.
Yes.
What would be your 1 minute advice?
My 1 minute advice. Okay. If your wife is acting distant, you need to develop more of a social life. You need to understand your values and boundaries and start implementing them. 3, you need to not be a victim and take accountability, even if she's doing something bad in her role, and see how you played a part. And then 4 is be patient and have empathy with yourself and compassion, because if you have empathy and compassion, number 2 is going to go well for you when you have boundaries and values.
Love it.
All right, gentlemen, if you love this video, and I want you to comment below, give me some comments in regards to maybe what you're going through. I'll personally respond to them. I'm also going to put my husband's YouTube channel called Love Advice TV down there, so you can subscribe to it. And also, if you want some coaching, I'm going to link his website with him and his partner coaches that you can go ahead and book a coaching session if this speaks to you and you're going through a specific situation like this. Thank you, sweetheart, for joining me.
Thank you, my love. Thank you, guys.
As always, if you want to continue watching more videos like this with me and Alex, I'll be able to offer you that. Go ahead and click the next video right over here, and I'll see you again in the next one. And remember, you are always loved. Bye for now.